Hello, Planet Earth. Welcome to my YouTube channel. We're at IDK. My BFF Jill 730.
Okay. My BFF Jill 730.
I'm Preston L. Young, wishing you warm salutations and congratulations as always. You've made your way to the Buffington Post. So today I'm going to be going over viewer feedback from issues number 22 and 23 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer as we gear up for tomorrow's issue number 24 debut. So number 22 of season 10 is the Willow-centric issue that deals with the fact that, hello, Dylan is not Spike's like super secret love interest, and I feel like everybody was very much glad to see that that was not the case, right? Yeah. Alright, so Natalia Escobedo Kenefic talks about how she misses the other teammates that are, our Scoobies, but she talks about how at the same time we kind of have to accept that with the comics and the fact that we are, flipping through pages and they've only got one issue per month, we just don't get to see all of the Scoobies, and she laments that, but she does understand that, and I feel like you've made a really good point there. There does seem to be too much separation between all of the Scoobies, even in, seasons 8 and 9. It's hard for us to get all of our characters on the same page. Wednesday, who thought that Buffy was going to be ending at issue number 25 in season 10, which, no, it's going to 30, by the way, she was a little upset with the lack of action that's going on, but due to the fact that we do have 30 issues, as she learned, I'm not too terribly worried about that right now. Basically, what we've got going on here, as Wednesday points out, and a lot of other people have pointed out, is that Dylan does not belong in this story, and it's fine to have her around, but her presence within the story makes Into the Light canon, which again I have not read because many people have told me not to, and a lot of people are really miffed that that whole weird story that shouldn't take place in season 7 now does, and so I do understand the frustration about that. She talks about she doesn't really like this Lake character, but I don't know that we're expecting Lake to really stay around. It's like I said, Willow, she's gonna live for like 200 years, so don't worry too much about Lake, kids. More on Dylan, Amanda Knitting Mummy says that she likes that the way that they used Dylan to actually build up the Spuffy relationship instead of tear it down. It was a big kind of misdirect, and she really appreciates that, and I do too. She talks about Willow needing another Tara, but I feel like we really only get one Tara, you know what I mean? I mean, obviously one Tara, but I don't see anybody really sticking around with Willow, obviously for the long haul, because hello, crazy in the future. But again, I don't see anybody ever really gelling with Willow in the way that she did with Tara, and that's just a fact of life, you know what I mean? And Amanda also says that she's actually liking that we have all of these kind of loose ends that haven't really been tied up, and she thinks that maybe that is evidence of some good things that are going to kind of tide over into season 11, fingers crossed. To Rock Your Soul likes the issue because it's totally within the Willow character to kind of try and avoid conflict and avoid Buffy, and I agree, it's very Willow. More about Dylan. Nobody seems to like Lake. I like Lake just fine because, again, I'm not invested in her, you know what I mean? To Rock Your Soul goes on to say that all in all, Gage writing for this season is good, but the characters seem always so insightful. First Harmony with Spike, now Dylan and Lake. Too much telling instead of showing. I miss the season 8 spontaneity and subtlety. I really agree there. Season 8, a lot of people really don't like it, and I get why they don't, but I really like season 8 and how big and fun and kind of all over the place it is, and yes, it does seem to be a bit more subtle, even though the whole Twilight metaphor is kind of beating us over the head, but I agree with you. Alright, and moving on to issue number 23, which people had some issues with overall. This is the one where, of course, Andrew proves his real Scoobiness and they destroy the sculptor. Wednesday and Jen, Periwinkle Paisley, are both on the I don't want Buffy to keep going for this normal life train. They really take issue with Buffy being in her mid-20s and still not having realized that she can't have a normal life. this is, I'll circle back around to this, and she laments the lack of the Xander and Ghost Anya storyline, but of course we've got time for that toward the end of the season. And hello, Dr. Mike, right? Dr. Mike. And she poses an interesting question, which is, do we think that the Spuffy relationship will survive or make it through season 10? I'm an optimist. I like to think that, yes, Buffy and Spike are going to be okay by the end of the season. I had kind of thought differently about midway through the season when Spuffy kind of like reignited for us, but I'm optimistic for this, and you guys know I'm not like a super Spuffy supporter, but again, season 10 has done such a good job of trying to like make us focus on the issue that is Spuffy. In this issue particularly, I talked about how they can't spend their day off together, and how they can't be a normal couple. But I don't know if Buffy's going to come to the realization that she can't be normal and just be happy with Spike, or I'm under the impression that they will make it through to the end of the season, but Joss. Alright, Ken says, no, I don't think Buffy and Spike will make it work unless they want to live in a world with constant conflict. Which, admittedly, they always do, what I mean? Yeah, and he basically says, love isn't always enough, which I concur. Jen talks about the whole normal life thing getting on her nerves, just like Wednesday, and how, like, going to the beach is cute, but not necessary, and how, like, oh, they can't have children, well, they can adopt, like, hello. But, here's my thing. When I watch the television show, I shut my brain off. I exist in a state of disbelief, like the comics don't exist and will not exist, because for all intents and purposes, they kind of shouldn't exist, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't think that Joss was planning season 8 at the end of season 7, you know what I mean? Like, it's its own thing, it's the show. And that's fine. I can put the comics out of my head and just watch the show. But with the comics, I don't have that same kind of shut your brain off moment, because we were promised something. Buffy got this moment at the end of season 7 where her life was just completely open, and then we got into season 8 and that was closed off to us. And so the whole normal life thing is again what we were promised. Like, we were told that Buffy was gonna like ride off into the sunset, or just do whatever into the sunset. Like, do what you do, Buffy. We aren't getting that. We haven't gotten that. And the whole point is, of course, the comics are an extension of the show, and the show is about becoming a person. And the real issue that we have with this is that Buffy can't just be in the sunset in the comic books, you know what I mean? She has to keep having these trials and tribulations and struggles and, work it girl and female empowerment and struggles and demons and Spike and her bed, like all this good stuff. And we can't just have her being happy, like that wouldn't be the book. But at the same time, we want that for Buffy. And I think the real issue for me comes from the normal thing. Like, Buffy's normal is like our very worst day. She wants to have your worst day. Like, the worst day you've ever had is going to be easy breezy for Buffy, in theory. This whole thing, she wants to have something that is hers. She wants something that she can say, this is mine, all mine, just mine. And it's totes normal. And so this whole striving for normalcy is what Buffy's always been about. And to say that you're tired of it still going on in season 10, I mean, really? Like, that's what Buffy's all about. She's been trying to get to this normal place, and we finally got her there at the end of season 7, and then, season 8 came along and just pulled the rug out from under us. But yeah, Buffy's struggling for a normal life isn't just, normal. It's a good life. It's a complication-free life. And of course, there's no such thing as a complication-free life, don't get me wrong. I got that, hello. But at the same time, thinking that Buffy's going to, spend the rest of her life in the dark, in the shadows, at night, with Spike, not living her life out in the day, not being able to have these real first moments with somebody who can really relate to her. Buffy can feel the sun on her skin, and she can go and taste foods and really experience life. And Spike can't. Again, it sucks for everybody involved, but the punchline is he can't. He can't give her children. He can't take her out to eat. There's so much to just being a person that we take for granted, and we don't realize that Buffy can't have those very, very simple things. She can't have those things from our worst day. She wants to go on like the worst date ever with Spike, but she can't do it because he can't walk outside, you know what I'm saying? They can't do things. They can't have these formative experiences that relationships really need. When you experience something for the first time with a person, then you are building on that relationship, and it allows for you two to have these new experiences, and those are what provide a kind of foundation for your relationship. And without those very, very normal things, Buffy's feeling lost, and she should, because this is something that she needs to decide. Is she going to keep striving for normalcy, or is she finally going to put her hands in the air and say, oh, it's all crazy, ha! I don't want the latter for Buffy. I want her to fight for that normal life. I want her to try as hard as she can to keep trying, you know what I mean? And Spike is admirable enough to realize these things. He realizes that he can't necessarily give Buffy these things. Do I think that we're going to lose the Buffy relationship? No, but I think both of these characters need to wake up and talk about the issues and not just go jogging about them. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's a whole crazy mixed bag of tricks, you guys. And now this is the part where you guys are going to get upset with me. We have not had a straight-up love triangle within the show and within the Scoobies since season 3 with the whole Willow and Xander thing. That's really the last time we had anybody, like, legit cheat on anyone. Okay, sure, Oz and Veruca, but whatever. And what I would like to see in season 11 or season 10 or wherever, I want Buffy to cheat on Spike. That's right, I said it. I want Buffy to cheat on Spike. Not because I don't want them to end up together or whatever. Like, that's totally beside the point. We have Buffy, and she's so Buffy. You know what I mean? Like, she's Buffy. Go, Buffy. And we just kind of take it for granted that she's always going to do the right thing. And it's been a really long time since Buffy's done anything that has made me feel conflicted about liking the character. You know, I did feel conflicted in issue number 20 with Buffy's decision to kind of stay with Spike, but I mean, that was really just there to say, okay, yeah, we know that, but they're still going to stay together. There's really nothing about the Buffy character that I can say, ooh, that was a bad move, Buffy. You did the wrong thing. And I want that for Buffy. I want her to be complex. I want her to make us question her in a very fundamental way. And I think a way that we could do that is to have her be unfaithful to Spike. We half expected it from Spike with Dylan, but I feel like if you really want to test your fan base and you really want to test the relationship dynamics between Buffy and Spike, I think we need to see Buffy falter. I think we need to see her be a little bit more human and have these passions and have just a love triangle. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't had anybody with the whole infidelity thing since like season 3, and we need to deal with that. I feel like we really do. And the whole Willow, Alwyn, and Kennedy thing does not count because nobody liked Kennedy. Am I wrong? No. I think it just would add so many like gritty, awful shades to Buffy that she really needs, because a lot of the time she just comes across as being perfect Buffy, like whatever, I'm Buffy. But, you know, I really want something more complex and harder to like for Buffy. I think that would be a more intriguing way to deal with the character. I want to not always have this blind faith in Buffy. I don't know, what do you guys think? Tomorrow we've got issue number 24, so stay tuned. I hope you're having a great 2016 so far, everybody. We're right back here to the Buffington Post anytime, as long as it still exists, for Buffy the Vampire Slayer reviews, Angel and Faith reviews, Buffyverse discussions on the other Slayers, and more. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Okay. My BFF. Joe? 730.
So, that's the only way their relationship works, blah, 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 blah.